Hello and welcome to Arts Life Unwrapped. I am joined by the lovely Dawn Kelly. Hi, Dawn.
Hi, Dana.
Dawn's from MAGPIE22, as you probably all know. And I basically just want to chat to you, Dawn, about your journey into music and a bit about MAGPIE22 and just talk to me about anything, really. Just get to know you.
Great. Okay. You mean apart from my love of Christmas jumpers?
Yes, very cool, very cool. Please talk to me about that as well. You're wearing it because you've got the gig in December. You told me
Yeah,
before.
yeah. And a few years ago, I sang at the Gallimaufry with Ruth Royal, who used to host like a kind of jazz funk sort of night there. But I did a song of my own. Often people got up and did covers, but I did a song of mine called Forgiven. But I found this fabulous sort of like sweatshirt hoodie, red, that said "All the Jingle Ladies," and I thought, yeah, I'll wear that. I think
Brilliant.
I think that was as popular as the song, at least.
That's great. Do you do a lot of gigs in the winter, and do you often try to wear a Christmas jumper to sort of celebrate that in December time?
Well, I don't know. No, I suppose, Magpie, the whole black and white thing, I do find myself actually very drawn to black and white, so often if you see me out and about, I will be wearing like a white shirt and a black waistcoat, black hat.
Yeah.
It's a thing. I'm kind of a bit magpie-esque, really.
Right, is that
But
where the name? Sorry,
Hmm?
carry on, carry on. Sorry, I cut
No,
you
but
off.
I do love having an excuse, to put other stuff on. So in the summer, I'll like to get out I've got like things like a floor length teal Chinese embroidered thin coat,
Amazing.
that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, love
very
it, love
cool.
it.
That's amazing. I have seen a couple of pictures of you with your sort of waistcoats. Very funky look.
Yeah, yeah, it's just,
Nice.
it's the thing really. I mean, I've always loved, just any excuse, as I say.
Is that where the name comes from? Sort of love for black and white and magpies?
No, it isn't actually. I'm quite keen on Native American culture, and I've always liked the look of those birds. I think they're a handsome bird, and I wondered why they're so maligned. A lot of people are very superstitious about magpies, and I love, those rhymes. One for
Yeah,
sorrow, two for joy. I've got an a cappella song that I do sometimes
yeah,
about that rhyme.
yeah.
But in Native American different meaning, or at least in some Native American cultures, they're messengers, and they often bring the good news or bring news of change. So they're seen as a kind of a good thing, like a messenger come to sort of tell you something.
Really?
And
And
I
it's
like that idea.
only
Hmm.
magpies, only magpies. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, there are certain yeah, American tribes who would say that that's what a magpie's role is to bring the news.
that's amazing. And
I
is
mean,
that
there's another idea that which people don't take any notice of this, but if you hear an owl calling, it could be calling you, and that's your end.
that's cool.
It's definitely.
I'm gonna listen out for owls now. um, but yeah, my mum always says that rhyme like if you see one magpie for joy, one for joy, two for sorrow, three for a girl,
Yeah,
four for a boy. And my mum was like, oh, why am I always only ever seeing one magpie? And my brother was like, don't worry, just count them up. Just add them up when you see them.
good
I was
idea,
like,
wasn't it? Yeah,
great.
yeah.
um so you sort of
Because
talked.
go, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course you
Your
can.
name, where's that from, Tala?
My name, I think one of my parents used to go to school with a girl called Tala, and that's sort of why they knew the name. But apparently, it means lots of things. Apparently, in one Native American tribe, it means wolf. I got
Oh,
told the other day that in Arabic it means gold.
uh,
When I traveled India, everybody always used to say to me, "Ah, Tala and Chabi." The person I was traveling with was key because Tala means lock. So
ah,
I, I don't know. In Spanish, it means the cull of trees, la tala de los árboles, cutting down trees.
okay. It's actually really nice to have a name that translates, isn't it? Because mine does as well. Like Dawn,
Yeah,
I didn't really like it as a girl. I wanted to be something, I don't know. I just thought I didn't like Dawn. I wanted to be a strong name like Kate or Eve
yeah,
or
yeah.
Wendy. I don't know. I didn't want to be a dawn, but you can translate it. So, it usually means the same thing, but in Arabic, Fajriya, which is a man's name, is dawn
Oh
or the
wow.
sunrise. And, in French, you've got aurore, which is also the dawn, and
Yeah.
aurora so
Yeah.
in the Latin languages, it's still dawn.
That's nice. That's nice. I didn't think about that.
And not a lot of people know this, but in Irish Gaelic, it's Braco and Lay, which is the break of day.
That's
The
nice.
nearest you can get.
Yeah, of course, because you're Irish, I read somewhere, aren't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
well, my parents are both Irish, grandparents, did one of those DNA things. And I was hoping
mm,
8th percentile Native American or something. And what it actually said was, you are 97% Irish.
wow. What was
I like a
your
pedigree.
other 3%?
1% British and 2% Scandinavian.
Oh wow, nice. Does
Little
dawn mean
touch.
any, does dawn mean anything in like any Scandinavian languages? Do you
I
know?
don't know, actually. Yeah, yeah. A little bit of Viking in there somewhere, maybe. The Vikings did get to Ireland, so
Yeah.
that's probably where it came from.
Yeah, they got all over the place, really, didn't they?
Yeah,
We're all a
yeah.
bit Viking. Cool. Well, that's nice. Let's talk a bit about your music then. I noticed a lot of it sort of like Americana, folk, kind of. Is that? Do you take a lot of inspiration from sort of Southern US
I
sound?
think, as I've gone through my life, I've kind of just reincarnated musically several times. So
Yeah.
probably as a very young woman in the 80s in London, I was quite keen on the not kind of, I would say, melodic punky music, so that kind of thing, Susie and the Banshees. So a lot of my music was influenced by that, kind of rhythmic and very exotic, colourful front person.
Yeah.
And then I started forming bands, that were more world music.
Yeah.
I went from rock to funk to world music, and I loved that, and I still love. Given the opportunity to kind of jam with people who can play something different, like tabla or dobro or an African instrument, I love it.
Yeah.
And Rainbow Nation I had for like 11 years, and we went around lots of kind of worldy, jazzy festivals and things. But
Yeah.
I think when I started doing stuff by myself, because bands can be hard to hold together, it's like herding cats. Um, and that's when I started kind of learning some acoustic guitar and doing little bits of pieces on my own. And it was interesting to me to find that I gravitated actually towards things that were sort of in the more folk, blues, almost country, some of it, tradition.
Yeah.
And still like to do the odd bit of rocky stuff, but definitely that's where my music just went to when I started working on my own.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was listening to your some of your Rainbow Nation tracks on your SoundCloud. And
Mm.
obviously I went from the top to the bottom, and Rainbow Nation's at the bottom, and it was so interesting to hear like the difference between the journey you went on from it, because it does sound very sort of jazzy, punky almost, Rainbow Nation, and then it goes into this kind of
Yeah, it really is. And interestingly, if I go to listen to music, I still love that kind of music. So for my idea of a good night out, it would be a jazz funk band where it's not seated, so that you can really enjoy the fabulous musicianship and move, I
yeah.
love that. And I go out a lot to listen to jazz around Bristol. It's my first choice, really, for my own entertainment. That's what I love to do. But I think my music also got influenced by meeting Neil Bailey, because Neil and I actually met. It's quite funny. He got invited by a friend that he had toured with some years back, a drummer, and she was putting together a new project. So she said, "Come along, we'll see how it goes." And then I saw something about it on Bandmix that they were looking for more musician singers. And I thought, oh, I'm at a loose end. I'd been away sailing for like 6 months or something. And I came to this kind of audition, really. And after a few sessions, I knew it wasn't for me, didn't connect with it in any way. But Neil, I thought, I like your sound. You're interesting. So the weird thing is now, it's nearly 4 years later now, neither Neil nor I can remember who it was that contacted the other one saying, what do you think? All I know is that I knew that he had also, when I did talk to him, that he'd also quit and that it
Wow.
wasn't for him. So we said, oh, hey, let's meet up, try jamming a few ideas. And it was like meeting your musical sibling.
Wow.
Just, that it was so easy and so fun. And, within a really short time, we were out, trotting out our first 3 songs, going, oh, what should we play? What should we play? Like a pair of teenagers. And then we wrote Cowboys and Indians together.
Yeah, I
Sat with
wanted to
a
ask you
van
about.
in Devon, like a caravan in Devon, and he and his wife. And we just sat there by the stream, after we'd only known each other maybe 6 months or something, and we
Yeah.
wrote Cowboys and Indians. And I thought, oh my God, this
Yeah,
is good.
I read on your website, you know how you have the descriptions of the people, the various people that appear in MAGPIE22, and for your description, it said that you'd written some of the best. You felt like you'd written some of your best work after you'd met Neil. Is that?
I do feel like that. I
Mm.
feel that, I mean, I'm very proud of a lot of the stuff that I have done previously and that I've done on my own, and particularly Rainbow Nation, which is very close to my heart. And that was one of those dreadful Spinal Tap style breakups, where there's that fabulous album that was never released, because we literally went,
Oh my
fell
goodness.
apart. Real shame. But so, I love that. But there's something kind of very warm and organic, and some of the lyrics and things that I get inspired to write around Neil, I think because we share those things like love of Native American culture, interest in America, South America, Southern American blues and stuff like that. Those legends of the old blues players share so much of that. That it's just colouring the music in a way that I don't write when I'm on my own, and I love it. I really enjoy it.
That's
So
amazing.
if he ever tries to leave me, I'm going to hunt him down and kill him.
Wow, that's ruthless. Brutal.
I know, I don't mean it at all.
I love it. That's great. He's like your musical soulmate, then maybe.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
That's amazing.
Really enjoying it. So we worked a lot as a duo at the beginning, and then we found Amy Bartlett, who's an amazing harmony singer, and I love harmony so much. And although Neil can sing, but he's got this extremely strong gravelly voice, and he can't hold a harmony. He'll just immediately switch and follow you. So we found Amy, and she really gives this lovely extra layer, lush kind of layer to the sound. And then we just thought, why not? Shall we see if we can get some more musicians? Because we love to do stripped back duo stuff, and we love doing stuff with Amy, where it's just the 3 of us and you get that lovely acoustic. We could get up with no amplification, the 3 of us, and get a great sound.
That's amazing. Yeah.
But there was that desire to have a bash at the full band sound. So along came very awkwardly 2 Chris's on the same bus, yeah.
Do you, and how, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
No, you carry on.
No, it's, we haven't yet had a chance to do a lot together because, this has been a very tough year, and Neil wasn't very well for a while. Then our new drummer got COVID. Yeah, it's been hard, It's been quite
completely hard. It's been, I think, really hard for a lot of musicians this year. Just as it has been for everyone else, I guess. But I feel like for musicians even more so, or for artists even more so, because you kind of rely on audiences and events. But yeah, must be so hard.
I mean, the first year, I'll be honest, I was literally pulling my hair out. I just didn't know what to do with myself. I tried to keep my spirits up, and I made a jokey version of Stuck in the Middle with You, about anybody who was wanting to kind of like throttle their partner because they were so stuck together all the time, and that was you know, I think, oh my gosh, I was so light-hearted then. But by the end of that year, you know,
Yeah.
I was ready to sort of sit in a bath like gin and razor blades almost. I just so unhappy, you know,
Yeah,
like,
no, completely. I was cutting my hair off. I was, you know,
oh,
to be fair, I actually found a sort of creative outlet. I took up pottery and then I started sewing. But like at the start, I was just chopping my hair off, going a bit mental because I was crammed in a small house with my entire family.
yeah.
But yeah, no, totally. Lockdown was definitely an experience that I don't necessarily want to relive, but I'm grateful for. um,
Yeah,
but
I can't say that I'm grateful for it. You know, I felt that, you know, Neil and I had kind of sort of hit the ground running, really, given that we were two musicians who, you know, people don't know us, and you know, we don't have a track record, you know, a strong track record as Magpie22, but we were just starting to, you know, local radio stations picked up on us and played us and interviewed us, and you know, we did visual radio arts and did an online concert, and then we went to Nashville for a month, and that was astonishing, you know, because again we were completely unknown, and yet Neil and I think managed to book ourselves one or two gigs, and then suddenly we were going to these songwriters nights and getting up and doing one song or two songs, whichever they'd allow you to do, you know, and being invited back to play.
wow, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
and it happened again and again, you know, and I was so proud of us, really, thinking, wow, and also the welcome that we were getting, you know, I mean, you know, we're not, you know, young kids starting out, and I think often people can be quite prejudiced against older artists. You know, if you haven't established yourself when you were young and wild and free, then you're seen as past your sell-by date a bit later. But that wasn't the way that Nashville responded to us.
Yeah. Did you go out to Nashville with the intention of playing? Did you already have
Yeah, we had one gig,
like, wow.
but we just said, why don't we just go, you know, and we booked flights, took our guitars, an apartment for a month, and
Wow.
said, let's just see what happens. And then we ended up playing at the Bluebird Cafe, which is like a dream of mine. You know, I'm a bit of a fangirl of the TV series Nashville, and so I'd learned. And then before that, I knew that Dolly Parton and Taylor Swift and all sorts of people started off in the Bluebird. And you know, to actually find myself there singing my own song called Nashville, it was like being on something. You know, I was just
Yeah.
literally buzzing.
That is that's such a great story. And like hats off to you guys for getting that done. That's
Yeah, but
amazing.
of course we came back, and then very shortly after that it was pandemic, you know.
Oh yeah, of
So
course.
we just got shut down, really, and so it felt very hard. And I mean, Neil and I also geographically, he lives out in Banwell on the way to Weston-super-Mare. I'm in the sort of centre of Bristol, so it's not like you could just meet for a walk or something. You know, all those restrictions meant that physically we could not play together.
No, completely.
So hard. Yeah.
Really difficult, yeah. How do you find do you feel like you've got sort of the wind back in your sails again then? Now are you
Just
kind of picking up?
starting. I'd say, you know, we're on that kind of, you know, it's about the tipping point where I hope that it's going to tip back over into feeling positive again.
Yeah.
You know, so we've had some really nice little gigs. We've had a couple of bigger ones, like a country festival down in Ilfracombe. We did an Americana night down in Dorset. So nice to just start being out playing live. But early in the year, I think around February, we did 3 videos of our songs at Under the Apple Tree, which is with Miles Myers-Harris. That's the studio in Bob Harris's garden. And we met Bob, and we were all really excited. I mean, me again, you know, like some schoolgirl, you know, because that's how I misspent my youth, sitting up late, you know, watching Old Grey Whistle Test and being turned on to Ricky Lee Jones or David Bowie or whoever he would have coming on. So exciting. So, you know, we met him and we did the 3 recordings, and that was meant to be the kind of first bit of an album that we were going to do with Miles. But unfortunately, there's a price to pay for a lot of people in terms of their overall well-being. of what happened with the pandemic and everything, plus a few other things. And Neil in particular kind of got completely, I think, just floored by everything, you know, and just couldn't then. We were booked to go back with the rest of the band, I think in June. We booked 3 days to go back and do some band tracks and a few more little trio tracks and have this lovely collection of live songs for an album. And we had to cancel because, you know, Neil wasn't very well.
Oh God.
So we still haven't managed to get back there, which is really sad, you know, like we've been, you know, even now I feel that, you know, then we had the drummer with COVID, and then our singer Amy ended up having to work at the BRI with shifts for money because obviously all of her work, she works as a solo artist and as a drama teacher, couldn't do any of those things, you know, so she just had to make a day job. So yeah, but you know, I'm feeling a bit more positive because we're putting more things in the diary, and yes, I think hopefully we'll get back to finish off that. But it just means another year has kind of slipped by, and that feels sad, really.
Yeah, no,
you know, especially at my age.
Wow. Yeah, no, that must be. Oh, I just can't imagine how it is to have to keep postponing work. It's horrible, especially when it's creative work, because you change, don't you? You sort of have an idea and you have a sound, and then a year later it might be slightly different. You might have different inspirations, and then when does the work ever get finished?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing that's probably kept me going is that I've really developed a love of making videos to go with our music, and I think Cowboys and Indians was the first one that Neil and I did, and we got some help. We had a guy, Jack, who played percussion on that, and a friend of his came and helped us. So, you know, it was nice because it was kind of semi-professional, but Jack and I worked on putting it together, and I found loads of clips that would fit, you know, and so I realized that I really enjoyed that. So after that, I just kept going, and then we went on to do Leaving Arizona, which we did remotely because we couldn't actually, couldn't be together. So Neil recorded a backing track and guitars and stuff, sent it to me. I downloaded it, added vocals, harmonies, sent it back to him. He had a go at mixing it, and then I sort of went, I'm not quite happy. And then you send it back to me and I'll mix it. And then we put it out. And in the meantime, I made a video for that I just love it. It's kind of very almost sort of 1970s West Coast kind of vibe to it, you know. I love it. I really like it.
I assume these are on your YouTube. I haven't had a chance to look at your YouTube.
They are on YouTube. So MAGPIE22 featuring Dawn Kelly and Neil Bailey. We've kept the Dawn Kelly and Neil Bailey because when we started out, that's who we were. You know, we didn't have MAGPIE22, and sometimes it can be hard to find us if you don't also have those names. And I think, you know, if we get a bit further down the road with MAGPIE22, it won't really matter anymore. You know, we can just let that drop. But at the moment, you know, for people doing searches, it's easier if they put MAGPIE22 and one of our names in, and then they find the page more easily. Okay. But yes, so there's a video for, I mean, Leaving Arizona, there's a guy called John Foster who has got a thing called Surgery Records. Actually, we're going to put out some music with John. You know, he's a big fan and a good friend. You know, he met us, he liked what we did, he booked us to come and do various gigs for him. And he's got his own little radio show and TV kind of video show. And he's been showing our videos fairly consistently and playing our songs now for a couple of years. So we said, you know what, we're going to do the next one with Surgery Records. You know, I think it would be really nice, you know. So yeah, I'm hoping we're going to do this song called Wheels, which is probably our most popular live song.
Okay.
You know, we've got everybody going do 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 do.
And kind of can be interactive with the audience a bit, maybe.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very cool.
Well, I haven't done a video yet, and I need to make a video. So, and I did another video for a song called Crossroads, which is maybe you've read about the legend.
No, I haven't. Please tell me it.
Okay, so Robert Johnson was a young black blues guitarist in Mississippi, I think in the early 1930s. And legend had it that he wasn't that great, and then he went off and disappeared for a while, and when he came back he was brilliant, and then they all said, aha, he went and sold his soul to the devil at the Crossroads, and that's how he got to be so good. And sadly he could join that under 28s club of people that died, because he died really young. And again, we're not sure, but legend has it that he was poisoned by a love rival. But anyway, his music, there are recordings. He recorded a couple of albums, I think. And people like the Rolling Stones will say that he influenced them. You know, I mean, he really did influence a lot of those early blues players, Muddy Waters, you know. So I wrote Crossroads with him in mind. And then I'd just seen I kept getting this name Bessie in my head. And I sort of looked up this Bessie. And this Bessie Smith was a blues singer who was considered to be a bit too blues and too black, you know, for that era, you know. And if you were like a very glamorous kind of mixed race girl, that sort of black was okay, you know, for singers, but not like, you know. Anyway, Bessie had this tornado of a voice. She was absolutely stunning, and completely confounded all of her critics and her people who damned her, because she ended up in film and was very, very successful. But sadly, here's the tragedy, Bessie and her, you know, kind of no good second husband, I think, had a terrible car accident at a crossroads in Mississippi, and she died as a result of the accident.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
So I got a little nod to Robert Johnson and to Bessie Smith in that song. And my daughter, Eve Sapphire, she sang harmonies on it. You know, I've got a friend, Pete Ardren, in London, who's a music producer, and we drove up there and said, we just want to do this acoustic thing, just me, Neil, me sing, Neil guitar, Eve doing backing vocals, and he's Eve's godfather. And he went, oh my God, I'd love it. You know, what, Eve singing with you, this is amazing, because he recorded albums for me, including the Rainbow Nation album. Wow. And so we had this lovely little session, so relaxed and lovely, you know, with a good friend, and just did that song Crossroads. But then Eve fell pregnant, so by the time I made the video, I said, look, Eve, would you be in the video as you are now? And she went, yeah, it's okay, I don't mind. So I've got her like dressed up in my wedding dress and everything in this video. I had a riot. And then Neil's son, Alfie, agreed to dress up in similar gear to Neil. So they're almost like the young us in the video, you know. I love it.
That's amazing. What a lovely story. Wow. Does Eve, have you kind of like transferred your love of kind of this genre of music onto Eve as well? Does she share the same kind of passion?
I would say, you know, Eve, you know, to be honest, is more of a Radio 1 listener than I am. But she sang with me just for the fun of it when she was a girl. And then she sang in choir when she was at school, but was always a much more, not shy, but a reserved person. She wouldn't put herself in the public eye unless there was a good reason. Whereas, you know, I as a kid was like, have you noticed me yet? Do you know I'm here? Like, what can I do to get your attention? And Eve was always kind of like, just sort of slides into the background very comfortably. So it took a lot of coaxing to get Eve to come and sing with me. But I can't remember. I think maybe Amy's availability was kind of ad hoc at the time. And I managed to convince Eve to come and do a bunch of gigs with us. So she did a couple in Glastonbury and one in Shepton Mallet. And I mean, there is something quite magical when you have siblings or family members creating music together, especially voices, you know, there's a different quality to it.
Yeah.
But, you know, Eve is living her own best life. She's a primary school teacher. She's got her son, who's Rory, who's a year old now. But I still hope to lure her back to singing with me, you know, even if it's just periodically, because, well, if you listen to Crossroads, perhaps you'll see what I mean. There's a really lovely quality to it.
Yeah, no, I listened to Crossroads. It was on your it was on your. I've written, the only thing I've written next to Crossroads is original question mark, because I wasn't sure. It wasn't sure if it was your own work or if you'd done a cover of someone else's work.
Wow, thank you. Well, I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah, no, it was lovely.
Yeah,
And I also I did the same thing for Cowboys and Indians, and I actually googled Cowboys and Indians, and it came up with the lyrics, and then it said like Dawn and Neil, and I was like, this is great. I did want to talk about that a bit. I wanted to sort of ask, because it's a sort of underlying, it kind of sounds like a lot of the songs are about like love loss. Is that a, especially with Cowboys and Indians, you know, it's kind of like a game of, it kind of reminded me of that song that's like, bang bang, she shut me down. Yeah, it reminded me of that quite a lot. And I just wondered if, you know, is love loss something, is that
Do you
something...
know, quite often I don't know what a song's about until it appears. So it's not like I sit down and think, oh, I know, it would be lovely to write a happy song, or it would be lovely to write a love song, or wouldn't it be nice to do a song that's about the environment or whatever. You know, literally, whether I'm writing with Neil or on my own, it's literally pure inspiration. It's just whatever comes out. So, you know, I had no idea. I mean, even now, I sometimes listen to the lyrics of that when I'm singing it and think, where did that come from?
Wow, that's amazing.
Promises turn into lies, and this idea of building your steel towers, you know, like, yeah, you're right. There's a kind of there is a sort of sad love story, isn't there, of a girl with someone when she was young, growing up, and then that he's grown up and become this kind of breadhead, you know, with his steel towers and everything, and she's trying to save the planet. So they're kind of they're at opposite ends of the spectrum.
They're on different paths.
Yeah, divergent paths.
Yeah. Maybe the
so
opposite of Crossroads.
Yeah, and I you know, I can't say. I mean, that bears no correlation really to anything in my own life. I mean, except perhaps that I am a bit of a person who would like to save the planet if I can.
Yeah, you know. I heard that a lot in Rainbow Nation. I heard that in your lyrics in Rainbow Nation songs.
And my co-writer back then, Simon Ferrigno, was really dedicated. I mean, he promotes organic cotton, you know, and he used to go all over the world at the time. In fact, we got invited to play for Catherine Hamnett, who was launching you know, an organic cotton range in, where was it? Belgium, I think. And, you know, we went over and played at one of her shows.
Wow.
In Belgium. But really it was because Simon was such an amazing promoter of organic, and still is, as far as I know, of organic cotton. So yeah, I don't know, Robert Johnson, I just know him. But again, I remember Neil playing a riff to me down at his place in Banwell. You know, we hang out, play a riff. He's always playing the guitar, by the way. You know, you have to have it surgically removed to get him in a concert, I reckon.
Fitting the stereotype.
Yeah. He played me this riff, which turned out to be the riff for Crossroads eventually. And for ages I said, it's something to do with Crossroads. 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 But I thought it would be about crossroads in your life, you know, where you get here and then you go one way or another way. So it was as big a surprise to me as anybody else hearing it, that actually it became all about Robert Johnson and Crossroads. And then Bessie popped in, you know, invited herself, in my opinion, into the song.
Wow. It just kind of developed into that. That's lovely. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, I have occasionally. Sorry, I don't know who's trying to go. It's Eve's trying to call me. I'll have to switch her off. I'm actually going to babysit tonight, so she'll just have to wait. So I'll talk to her in a minute. Yeah, so songs, I can only think of a few songs that are autobiographical, you know, because in a way Nashville is, the song Nashville. because I was a sweet Irish girl and I did travel the world trying to sing and do my thing. And I did kind of take a break to have a baby. And then I have traveled the world with her now that she's grown. So it's all pretty true.
Is leaving Arizona maybe also a bit autobiographical? Arizona, please don't leave me. Is that in any way kind of
I don't know.
wishing?
I just, you know, again, I just got this image, and it was of. I do love the Western genre, and I mean, you know, in my other kind of wearing my other hat, I'm interested in writing, and I've studied literature, Native American literature. So, you know, I'm quite immersed really in all of that culture, and I just got this image of this kind of broken down cowboy kind of character, you know, who, you know, is kind of just selling his life down the Swanee, and you don't know why really, you can't really understand why. And then it kind of switched so that, you know, the person who's singing the song is equally afraid of losing that broken down person. Who knows? Maybe it's about me and Neil.
Could well be. It could be, as we've discovered, it could be about anything and could become about anything.
Yeah.
But Dawn, it's been so lovely speaking to you. Honestly, I feel like I've said amazing about a million times because everything you've said has amazed me. But it's been an absolute pleasure.
Are you going to be at the gig, Tala? Will you be back?
No, I won't be, unfortunately. I'm not supposed to start till January, really. So I'm not taking over anything until January. So, but I'm away. Yeah, no, I'm not coming back till the 7th of January.
Okay. Oh well, hopefully there'll be another one a bit further down the road.
I'm hoping so. I'd love to meet you in person. This has been awesome.
Yeah, me too.
Got some great stories. So yeah, of course, MAGPIE22 are performing at Hall Pass Bar on the 19th of December with Arts to Life. Come and watch them. They're amazing, as you can see. A charismatic front of house is here. Very, very awesome.
My beautiful dove guitar.
Oh wow! Is that custom made or what?
No, it's made by a local guitar designer, Lindo, just up in Brislington in Bristol. Support your local businesses. That's what I say.
There we go, Lindo, for a lovely, beautiful guitar.
Yeah, and do look us up on YouTube because I waste my life away making videos. So please come and have a look.
I will pop all the links to MAGPIE22 stuff into the caption for YouTube, so that should be easy to follow.
Great.
And then obviously like, share, subscribe, comment. I always forget to say that. Do all that stuff. But yeah, anyway, thanks Dawn. It's been lovely.
And I'll send you the link for the YouTube page if you like. Is that okay?
Perfect. That would be great. Yeah, no, definitely, and I'll pop it all into the caption. That's
brilliant. Great. All right, really nice to chat at last. Yeah, okay,
it's been lovely. Thank you so much.
Okay. Take care and have a good Christmas.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.